$90 million. Yet they have everything. The police functioning properly, the schools are open, you know, and traffic is flowing, and everything. They have lights, they have everywhere, lights on every street, they have everything. And then we in the Turks and Caicos have a budget of $200+ million with 35,000 people. Yet you call the police sometime, oh, I don't have gas in the car, or I don't have a car at work, or some street without lights, or the classroom is too small, and with so much problems. Now, I have to believe that something is wrong somewhere. Now, I'm not saying something is wrong, but all I'm saying is I have to believe. How can one have 87,000 people with $90 million, and we have 35,000 people with $200+ million? We can't make it work. That's why I said eliminating wasteful spending in our tax dollars. And creating a pre-approved line item detailed budget, eliminating monopolies, and creating a competitive bidding process for all services and contracts. And I say that for a reason. I do believe if we create a competitive bidding system that is again transparent, I do believe we can save a whole lot of money. Now let's go to economic development. I know our economy again based on tourism, and I think it's time for us to look at other ways of not only bringing income, but saving means a lot to me. Because if you look at how much money we're spending in food in the Turks and Caicos Island, I think it's time for us to seriously look at growing our own food in the Turks and Caicos. If the if the Israelis could do it in Israel, we can do it here in the Turks and Caicos. Is any one of you here been to Israel? No. Oh, you can sit here. It's a desert, and it's hot. And Israel used to import everything, all the food. Now they're growing so much food, they're exporting food all over the world. So why can we? It would create jobs, and whatever money we spend out, $2 million, $3 million a month, now you have $3 million that's going to stay within our economy. And now if people that work the farm, they're going to eat here in Vegas, they're going to rent houses, they're going to use transportations. And I think it's time for us to start producing. There is many other things that we can do. And I know if I'm going through the whole list, it will take us hours and hours and hours to go through it. I know we have a limited time, so therefore I will brush through a few of them. And then I would let Mrs. Zhavargo take over and help me out a bit. But if you look at under economic development, it says foster job creations by providing incentive to major corporations to relocate within different districts. Why did I say that? Or why did I put it there? I put it there is because I'm not sure if all of you here in this room this evening realize that we have a 37 square miles island, but one part of it is a first world country, and the other part of it is a third world country. I don't know if all of you have gone down to Five Keys area, in the Q-Town area, in certain area, just to look and see what the areas look like. Even some areas in Blue Hills. So we must and have to create, or the government have to create some incentive to get investors to invest in these communities, which is Five Keys, Blue Hills, and Cheshire Hall, Q-Town, and the Bight. But the Bight is so close to the real action. But I would say the Bight also. Yes. And it should be in the investors' interest to invest in their local communities. We can't have a country that is prosperous, but where your local people are not prosperous with the country. And we can't have the backbone of the economy. The people that are doing all the work are living like and you know what? It's not good. It's not a good thing for our beautiful country. So my message this evening is to tell the investors, it is time for us, I'm sure you all have done a lot, but it's time for us to seriously look at the communities where our people live. And if we, the PPP, from the government, we want to join you to have built our local communities. We want to go into partnership with you to do that. And underneath it says, provide needed infrastructure to attract international and business in the Turks and Caicos Island. Provide government secure loans to help small businesses. And I think it is in the government interest to work with the local bank. I know we had TC Invest, and unfortunately TC Invest now is now closed, I understand. And if it is, if the government is going to keep it closed, I believe it is in the best interest of the government to either do some kind of joint venture or some agreement with a bank where they can guarantee small and medium loan, especially for the local business people. And then provide job training in all categories to our belongers. Again, there's another area between the government and the private sector. We can do a joint venture to make sure to help our Turks and Caicos Islanders receive the best educations in the world and help them acquire the skills that they need to help us develop this country. I've seen the need for all of us, for the private sector and the government to get together to help our brothers and sisters in Turks and Caicos. Because without a good education, without a good skills, we're going to fall behind. And it's a responsibility as a government that we must take. And if the PPP is part of the new government, you can rest assured we want to use the Singapore model, where when an investor comes into do business or going to do business in Singapore, and then when you call the government department, start acquiring information, they give you all the information you need. And when you come into the country, they provide someone for you to look after you, to make sure to to take you wherever you have to go. They will get apartment for you, office space, take you to whichever government department you want to meet with, business licenses and everything like that, to help you get those licenses. And you waste absolutely no time. And it is sad to say today, unfortunately, in our beautiful country, I've seen where you can't get a visa and a passport or a work permit. You can't get it in under 5 to 6 months. We can't grow our economy. We can't grow our country when it takes you 5 to 6 months to get a work permit. How can we? And you can go to other department, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, we are struggling. But you know what? PPP want to help. This is why we form a new party. We realize our brothers and sisters need help. We want to help train them. And we will go out of our way to help them get the skill that they need, where we can have a government that runs very, 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 very efficient. And one thing we will ensure that we do, we want the government to match the private sector, what the private sector is paying their people. Because we can't expect people to do a great job and be efficient or attract talent in the government if you don't pay them well. So you can rest assured the PPP party will do that. And go back on the fast track system. The PPP will have someone meet the investors at the airport and take you where you have, whichever department you need to go into, and we're going to guarantee you that we're going to streamline the process where it shouldn't take you months and months to get things done. I'm going to let my Deputy Leader, Zhavargo, to continue on with the creations of Community Investment Act and others.
That's going to be a tough act to follow. Can we get another round of applause for my leader? I'd like to again thank President of the Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank Mr. Allen Hutchinson. I'd like to thank all the members of the Chamber of Commerce that are here and all the media and the Turks and Caicos as well. My people of the Turks and Caicos. I'll continue on in the interest of time. There are many variations for the acronym PPP. Tonight, the PPP stands for Public-Private Partnership. The individuals in this room represent the engine of our economy. There needs to be a closer working relationship between the government and the private sector in the Turks and Caicos. There are so many issues we're facing right now that can be so easily repaired with a closer bond between these two entities. We talked about encouraging businesses to give back to the community in various ways, such as building infrastructure, contributing to education, health, social service. With the government that works hand in hand with its private sector, this shouldn't be a challenge at all. And we as the PPP, we're not waiting until election day to start taking a proactive approach in this direction. So far, we've been meeting with various organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce, the Hotel and Tourism Association, and we want to build a relation now. So going into election day and thereafter, we're on a first-name basis. You know you can count on Zhavargo, you can count on Harold, you can count on Edward, you can count on Dorrel, and you can count on Wendal. Because we know the value you provide to the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Yes.
It's important because I see in these various organizations and institutions that there's not even an ex officio member of the government sitting in on some of these meetings. You go to the Hotel Association meeting, there's no government member there. You go to the Chamber of Commerce, I don't see one either. How can we know what your needs and concerns are if we're not even present when you're talking about your needs and concerns? Yeah. And through a closer bond between these two entities, we can only help but build our economy. Investors will flock to a country where the government is willing to work with you. Pull out the red tag and roll out the red carpet. This is the Turks and Caicos I want to live and work in. You need to make sure the engine of your economy is well oiled. Yeah? And this is what the PPP government wants. Because at the end of the day, we want you to be successful so the Turks and Caicos Islanders can be employed. And ultimately, this is our goal. There's so many other revenue generators other than diversifying our tourism. We've been known somewhat as an offshore financial service haven. Through this close relationship between the public and the private sector, this creates a level of comfortability with investors and also people investing in your money in your country. If you are a close working, trustworthy government, this only encourages them to further trust you with their money and their funds and strengthens your economy. And this is what the PPP government wants for you as Turks and Caicos Islanders and as investors. I want to talk a little bit about what the PPP has done with comprehensive immigration reform, border control, and protecting our citizens. Again, the PPP isn't a wait until election day government. We're government of today. We've already taken proactive steps in meeting with the foreign ambassador to, I think, the Bahamas, from the Bahamas for Haitian nationals and so on and so forth. We have isolated our issue, our financial burden with repatriation. Now, we've taken a proactive step of meeting with various foreign ambassadors from the countries that we have the highest deportation rates with, and started mediating with them about taking on the cost of the repatriation fees. We're aware of how much of a financial burden this is for the Turks and Caicos government. And we've now asked them if they can take on a portion of the burden. So we can now, and what this does is this open up quite a bit of money in the budget that we can now focus on strengthening our borders with investing in various resources for our border control, maritime officers, and immigration. Okay, proper training, proper tools. We just had the recent installation of the radar, which I think is an extremely successful project. And so far, it's already started earning its money. There's been 3 busts so far since the inauguration ceremony of this radar. This is something that's been long overdue needed. And now what we need to do is take it a step further. Give the individuals the tools they need to now not only isolate and locate the individuals, but to get there in a timely manner. Give them boats. Give them training. This is how we strengthen our borders. And this is what the PPP government is working on right now. We're a government of today. We're not a government of tomorrow. Well, I want to talk a little bit about a data bank. We're a population of 35,000 people. We need a more accurate depiction of who our citizens are, where our citizens are going, and what our citizens are doing without any form of invasive information. You look at every other country, and data tracking is one of their biggest investments. We need a closer link between labor, immigration, and even education. This is the only way that we will know the process of our people. And even in the work permit process, we can know where our needs are and where we have the already trained resources here. I think this will alleviate some of the tension between the locals and the work permit holders. If you know there's a need for a specific position and there is no way you can find a position here, we know that's a position that needs to be outsourced. And in turn, this will lower the whole tension between these individuals and thinking that this individual is taking my job and so on and so forth. So there needs to be a stronger relationship within government as well. There's lack in data control, and a data bank is something that the PPP is working on, and it's something that we feel can alleviate this issue. We're talking a little bit about agriculture. But first I want to hit on environmental aspects. Again, we're a very small nation. And I just want to point out the fact that we just opened the new landfill, which I think was a great investment. But I think it's a band-aid solution to a major issue. We are very poor as Turks and Caicos in managing the beauty of our country. We need to implore ourselves to have better habits when it comes to waste management. And we need to start encouraging recycling in a large scale, to the point where it needs to be in the schools. We need to start from an extremely young age teaching our children to take care of the beauty of their country and understand that it's not only a resource, it's your economy.
That's true.
It's how mommy makes her money. Okay? And until we understand that it is a resource, and we educate our young people and teach them the good habits so they can grow into mature adults that respect their environment, we can't expect anything else. In agriculture, this is a huge part for me. A lot of people see agriculture as just the beauty, the untapped natural resources. I see agriculture as a revenue generator, a huge revenue generator, especially for a country like the Turks and Caicos Islands. There is so much untapped resources here in the Turks and Caicos Islands that we haven't even begun utilizing. Through research, we know there are 5,000 acres allotted in North Caicos right now for the use of agricultural purposes. Now, I know this is a small amount when you start thinking about feeding a country of even 35,000. But when you take into consideration that there was over 20 million spent by the resorts in the Turks and Caicos Islands on produce, that's money that we are shipping out of the country that can be tapped into by our own business owners right here in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
That's true.
The land is available. What we need to do, just like my leader suggested, is provide the correct infrastructure, allocate this land, allocate the proper licenses, figure out what it is that we can grow here, figure out what it is that the resorts are purchasing from the outside, figure out how to cultivate it here, and set our people up and watch them go. And that's what the PPP government envisions.